church and youth ministry, social media, marketing, and communications. As we've been exploring in this playlist linked right here at the top of the screen, we have looked at how important having the right tool is. I talked about like different softwares that I'm using every single day. I've talked about different pieces of hardware that I'm using every single day as it pertains to cameras and microphones and lighting, and then like putting it all together and the platforms that you use. But like if you're watching this and you're like, what do I do for my church social media, for my church marketing? Like, what is the first step? If I'm just getting started, if I'm just starting from scratch, where do I go? What do I do? How do I do this? Here's how I would recommend getting started if you have nothing going for you. So first and foremost, determine the platforms that you want to be on. Okay, like you got to know where you want to go. If you don't want a TikTok, then don't create a TikTok account. If you don't want YouTube, then don't create a YouTube account. But if you called me and you were like, hey dude, I'm starting from scratch, what do you recommend? So for scalability and sustainability, what I would aim for, first and foremost, let's check this off the box. Let's make sure you have a church website. If you're in youth ministry, that conversation might not begin with you. You might have a church communications person or something like that they're doing the website. But if you're in youth ministry, make sure your youth ministry website is actually up to date. I can't tell you how many youth pastor websites I go to, and what's on there is like events that have already expired, like events from October and it's like November already or something like that. So get and make sure and keep your website 100% completely up to date. Maybe even send a visitor to it or somebody that doesn't go to your church and ask them, like, does this website look good and make sense? And probably the most important question in that is, does this make sense? Because the fact of the matter is, like, if you're in youth ministry and someone else is building your website, you don't have a lot of control over like the look and the feel of it. And in the last episode of our playlist, I talked about Nucleus, right? I talked about the Nucleus website builder. So if you don't have one and you're in the market for one, check them out. They are affordable. Their sales team is fantastic, and it's a church website builder for churches. It's not like a WordPress site or something like that. It's like for churches. So check it out. Make sure that your website is up to date. But then from there, if and when like people land on your website, they know where to go. They know what to do. It makes sense. It's not confusing. They're not getting turned around. So if your website is good to go, that is like the very, 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 very baseline of it. Okay. From there, you need to then determine, like we've talked about, you need to determine which platforms you're going to be on. Now, for me, because of the virality, like potential of short form vertical video, I want to be on them all. And because we're going to be creating, at least I'm going to be creating a lot of short form vertical based video, and all of the major platforms support short form vertical based video, then I'm just going to be on all four of them. But if you like have a theological or like preferential stance against one of the social networks for one reason or another, then make your determinations and choose what you want to do. But I would implore you to consider and not overlook the platform of YouTube. 95% of teenagers say that they're on YouTube. That is also a corresponding statistic for adults as well. Like the majority of people are on YouTube. And if you think about what most people's just typical habits are on YouTube, aside from getting on there for entertainment, they're getting on there to ask specific questions. And so if you yourself are also answering specific questions, namely about God and faith and matters of salvation and things that people might be looking for. And if you don't know the answers to those things, like you can check out a resource like VidIQ linked down below to kind of give you an idea for what people are searching on YouTube and what keywords are ranked really high. But if you don't want to use a platform like that, use your intuition. I mean, pastors and church ministry leaders, like that's actually what we're doing every single day and every single week when we're coming up with different sermon series that we think people need to and want to hear and explore and learn from. Like the whole idea of what YouTubers are trying to do is they're trying to get into people's heads and figure out like what are they asking so that I can answer, so that they'll click my video and so that they'll watch it. Pastors are doing the same thing, right? We're thinking like, what does my congregation need to hear? What is my student interested in? What are they looking for? What do they need, even though maybe they don't like want it, you know? And so you're doing the same type of thing. And that's why I recommend in our YouTube for Youth Ministry playlist, I recommend pre-filming your messages. So establish a YouTube account. And that's going to be like your home base, right? Your website, home base. Your YouTube is probably your home base for social media. Your longest form, your most like substantial pieces of content are going to live on YouTube. You're going to do long form videos. And if you have the ability to do teaching videos, we're going to work up to that at one point in time. But if you don't have the infrastructure or bandwidth or editing, first and foremost, let me just say I'm available to reach out for coaching. Link down below is a link if you are interested and you are starting to kind of build this from scratch, but you're getting hung up somewhere or stuck on something, or you just want to pick an outsider's brain. Click that link, reach out to me, start a conversation. First session is free, and let's just figure this thing out together. But that being said, you're going to work yourself up to full long form YouTube based videos. Like that's where you're going to hope to end up. However, if you're just getting started and you want to like start kind of like dipping your toe in the digital waters, I would recommend that you have all the platforms that you're going to want to start using. Now, I don't know what other platforms might kind of burst on the scene here in just a little bit, but as of today, as of right now, what I think is useful and recommended for churches is YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook, and I would probably rank them in that order. That being said, like I said, make your determination, like what is going to work for you and your ministry and your context. But if you're going to work yourself up to full-time YouTube long-form accounts, in the meantime, we can start posting things on your shorts feed on YouTube, okay? So we're going to work ourselves up to it, and then to just get started, at a bare minimum, right? Like I have detailed and outlined here in my 100% completely free ebook. You see it here on screen if you are watching on YouTube. All kinds of different ideas and strategies and things to get you started. But to scale all that back, because like that's my full strategy, 2 posts per day, all those things, long form video once per week, like all that stuff. But to scale all that back to a more manageable, more bite-sized, and more like helping someone like you who's starting from scratch with no other like prior experience and no other infrastructure to get stuff like this done, here's how I would recommend getting started. First of all, on Monday morning, if you have a service on Sunday with a sermon of some sorts, on Monday morning, what I would do is I would post a like selfie style, less than 1 minute, because YouTube Shorts is a maximum of 1 minute long. And so if you make all of your short form vertical based videos less than 1 minute, you will be able to use that singular piece of content across all platforms. YouTube Shorts, Instagram Reels, TikTok, and Facebook. But on Monday, I would do some sort of recap post. And all you're doing is a selfie-style video, and you are rehashing the sermon. If you're the pastor, this is great because you know your main points, you know your takeaway, you know your best illustration. Like, just kind of riff on it for 60 seconds. Be like, you know, let's say yesterday your topic was, living life in community and how to love others sacrificially like Jesus did from from John chapter 15. So you might hold your phone up and be like, Jesus taught us the idea about living and giving our lives for other people. And you just kind of riff on that for 60 seconds. And if you're holding your phone, you can see the little timer, like how long it's taking, right? One thing that I think is good practice is this, you're going to be posting this on Reels, okay, or TikTok or YouTube Shorts. And so people may not find it in a quote unquote timely manner. And so don't say something like, yesterday at church we talked about, like, drop that language. Just dive straight into what the topic is. Because if you want someone to find you, they're not finding you based on your like calendar of events or the fact that you had church yesterday. So just go straight to the content. Plus that, like, it's the first 2 seconds of a video or a reel that matters most, getting people right to like actually hook, pay attention, and not leave. And so don't do this, hey, this is Pastor Bill here from Calvary Church, and don't forget that yesterday we talked about life and community, and don't forget about the church picnic potluck. But I want to remind you that we like drop all that, right? Living life in community is hard. How do we do it? Well, Jesus actually gives us a roadmap. You see the difference between those two? Like, one dropped the 5-second intro and the 5-second fluff, and it helps you like then be able to cram more content into your 60-second time limit. And also, if someone comes across this video 3 months later, it's okay because the content is still relevant and it's not time-stamped in any sort of way. Now, if you are long-form filming your videos or posting a live stream somewhere, post it to YouTube. Because what you can do then on YouTube is you can link a related video, right? And so if you have a short form video about the topic, you can link a long form video, and then you get that person over to that section and that part of your channel, right? If YouTube is the home base of your social media, then everything you're doing, you're going to want to get them over there to that thing. And if you create a little end card or a watermark that you put on your videos, it can also point them from other platforms over to YouTube. It can follow like a link in bio on TikTok or on Instagram or on Facebook. And actually on Facebook, you can post a legitimately live link that can take them to that platform. But then on let's say Wednesday, what I would do is I would do like some sort of like devotional type thought, similar, right, but different and unrelated to the sermon. Or like, you know, if we're doing like life in community and living sacrificially, then on Wednesday, I might just do a quick 60-second blurb video about love and the importance of love. And or you could do a video with no talking and just some some backing track and like some text on it, right? And it's kind of like a how-to video. And so you could title it like how to love someone, and then like, or three steps to loving someone who's unlovable. Step 1, step 2, step 3. You can post something like that. So again, it's adjacent or semi-tied to your content, but again, it has the purpose of being evergreen, to be found later on down the road. And then Friday, do something fun. Post a bunch of memes, post like something that shows your personality. And this is where I would, even if you're in a church and you're not in youth ministry, this is where I would grab my ebook and I would start doing some of the things that I recommend. Blind ranking filters on TikTok. Know it or not, go to one side of the room or the other with yourself, your volunteers, your staff. You can do like, one of my favorite things is called drafts, and it's like talking about ranking different like things in different categories. 7 questions, telepathy, like all kinds of different like game styles that we've done. Again, all those are listed in my ebook, and you can just do like drafts Friday, and every single Friday you post a draft, or you can sprinkle in a variety of those different pieces of content. But once you start doing these things on some sort of regular rhythm, some sort of regular clip, then you want to start working yourself up to be able to post once a day, right? And my goal, what I do is I post once a day for every day that I work. So if you're in ministry, you probably are off like Friday and Saturday. So I post 2 on, right now I post 2 on Sunday, 2 on Monday, 2 on Tuesday, 2 on Wednesday, 2 on Thursday. But if it, so like if that's your schedule, like post on the days that you're on. So Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday, or something like that. Like figure out a rhythm within your calendar that you work. Don't post on days that you don't work. Now, if you want to do some sort of scheduler, you can check out a scheduler that I've used in the past called Metricool. It will get the videos on the thing on like the platforms, but just being honest, like I don't think the algorithms really it coming from a third party. So it choked down a lot of my reach in a lot of my places, especially YouTube. And YouTube is the platform that I'm actually like most interested in as a youth pastor in 2024 and beyond. And so I didn't like that my reach and my views were all down on YouTube, and I blame that on the third-party posting service. But sometimes it's useful, sometimes it's helpful. If you're only using like Facebook and Instagram, I do think you can use the Meta Business Suite to post things, and there is no issue with throttled down reach because it's not third party. It's from Meta directly. And so that is a worthwhile one. But getting on like TikTok and those types of things, that's trickier. And so then all throughout the rest of your week, like what else do you post? Well, you can post some photos, like photo dump type things, on your Instagram feed, in Facebook groups, Facebook pages. You can also post a couple of like static graphics and one announcement per week, no more than one announcement per week. And then if you have a Facebook group, try to drum up and build up some good community in there. Maybe consider giving some giveaways and stuff like that to like kickstart and spark some conversation and community, so that it actually can kind of carry on without you having to be the primary initiator of all of that content. But then you're going to eventually work yourself up to 2 posts per day, right? And right now we're just at 3 a week, 1 every other day. And so to go beyond that, then start sprinkling in 1 on the off days, right? And so then you're 1 every day, and then start sprinkling in 2 on maybe 2 of the days out of the 5 total, or whatever that might look like. But then eventually too, like the biggest priority for me would be find a way to get your long form content down to a 15-minute type thing. That's why I recommend pre-filming your messages, because a live stream is typically 30 to 35 minutes. But if you can get your long form down to 15 minutes or so, and that can be clipping your live, or that can be filming direct to camera. There's multiple different ways to kind of attack that, but start posting those videos to YouTube. Work on your titles, work on your descriptions, work on your tags, and work on your thumbnails. Add those things to playlists on YouTube. All those things are helpful in you getting seen, found, and indexed in your community. And so that will also be an avenue to not only serve your church people who weren't there live for the sermon, want to watch it again, whatever the case might be, and also potentially reaching new people. So that's how I would take all the different tools that we've talked about and how I would package them and make them hybrid. Now, in the next episode, I actually do a sit-down interview with my resident. He's been working with me now for the last year at the church I'm at now, and he was an intern with me previously in a different context. And so I asked him his opinion of what it's been like to work in a hybrid ministry environment, what he learned from it, his thoughts, his takeaways, and what he's going to take with him on into his next endeavor. So that video is going to be linked right here on screen. Tap that. We'd love to have you go check that out. But don't forget, as always, we're making digital discipleship easy, possible, and accessible. So as always, stay hybrid.